Uh, Dear students, in the last video we discussed about scalar and need of the vector and what are the terms or the definitions associated with a vector. In that so far what we discussed, you can name a vector maybe a negative, parallel, antiparallel, collinear, like that. Now we will switch over to another part of that vector, or to know more about the vector, another part, that is the multiplication of a vector by a real number. Multiplication of a vector by a real number, when I multiply a vector by a real number, what happens actually? Here the multiplication of a vector by a number n, multiplication of a vector by a number, suppose n is a number, maybe 1, 2, 3, like a real number, -1, -5, like that, then gives a new vector, that gives me a new vector, that gives you a new vector whose magnitude is n times, whose magnitude changes is n times, whose magnitude is n times of the vector, of the given vector, n times of the given vector, and direction is same as that of the vector, and direction is same as that of the vector, clear? So in this discussion, the multiplication of a vector by a number means the number may be a real number, 1, 2, 5, -1, -9, like that. So if you do the multiplication of a vector by a real number, means I can write this as, let a vector A is multiplied by a real number n, and n may take any value, then I will get a new vector B. I will get a new vector V. What that new vector B? The multiplication vector by a number n gives a new vector whose magnitude is n times. The new vector B, I can write the new vector B to write the magnitude. What we are using? We are using modulus. So this gives you the modulus of B, means this gives you the magnitude of B. What is the magnitude of B? That is the n times the magnitude of A. Because this is a real number, it has no direction, so only write this as n and the mode. So this is the whose magnitude is n times of the given vector, means magnitude of the given vector, and direction is same as that of the vector B, means we can say B vector, the new vector, is parallel to A vector. I can write this parallel symbol. B vector is parallel to A vector along the same direction, Now let us take an example. So suppose graphically we show that this is the vector A. Suppose this is the vector A. A is the vector. Now this vector A is multiplied by 2, means n is equal to when 2. When I take this n is equal to 2, what we will get? We will get a new vector whose magnitude is 2 times the magnitude of A. What is the magnitude of A represented by the length of this arrow. So this length becomes 2 times. So now I will make this length 2 times. So this is the magnitude of the new vector. Then the direction is same, means it is along this direction from my left to right. So this arrowhead is like this. So this is the vector B, which is equal to, I can write 2a, which is equal to 2 into a. Suppose in the same case, suppose your n is equal to minus 2. Remember, when n is equal to minus 2, what we will get? N is equal to minus 2 means the magnitude is same. This negative sign makes the vector in opposite direction. It changes the direction. That means this will changes like this. So n is equal to minus 2 means I will write this as the new vector B. Its magnitude is 2 times, but the negative sign gives you the direction. It means in vector notation, the plus minus sign is because of the direction only. If it is plus in one direction towards left, if I make the vector minus, it will go to the right. Or it is your north plus, if it goes to south, then it will take this as a minus. So that is the meaning of this plus and minus in a vector. So if you multiply this minus 2, the magnitude is like this, 2 times with a minus, and the direction is opposite. So it is from left to right, this is from right to left. This is the arrowhead. The arrowhead changes its direction. Is that clear? Now if you make this n is equal to 0, real number, if I multiply this n is equal to 0, then what I will get? Now I can write this is equal to 0 into the vector A, number with the vector A. That when 0 multiplied, I have already discussed in null vector. This will be a null vector. I means I can write 0 with a vector symbol at the top. Right? So this is the null vector. Clear? This is the null vector. Means that can be shown by a dot. That can be shown by a dot. This is the null vector. Means it has no magnitude and direction is arbitrary. Clear? This is about the multiplication of a vector by a real number. Now we will go further. Remember one thing is that when you multiply a vector by a real number, it does not change the unit of the vector. It does not change the unit of the vector which represent the physical quantity. It means, as we know that the velocity is a vector. Velocity is a vector quantity. Suppose a velocity is given to me 2 meters per second, and if I multiply this velocity by real number, let that is your 3 into b, then I can write this as equal to 6 meters per second. Means the unit remains same. Then a real number is multiplied with the vector, the unit remains same. That is the most important thing. It does not change the unit part, only it changes the magnitude part to represent that vector. And how this magnitude changes, already you know that in graphically and also by the depreciation. Right? Then next we will go for the multiplication of a vector. Is that clear? Next we will go for the multiplication of a vector by a scalar. Multiplication of a vector by a, not a real number, by a scalar. Now I multiply the vector by a scalar. What I will get? If I multiply the vector with a scalar, I will get a vector. I will get a vector. Clear? Because the scalar has no direction. What the direction of the vector? When you multiply the scalar with the vector, the new vector will follow the direction of the given vector. Will follow the direction of the given vector. So I can write this as the, when a vector quantity is multiplied, when a vector quantity is multiplied, when a vector quantity is multiplied by a scalar, when a vector quantity is multiplied by a scalar, then the physical quantity obtained, then the physical quantity obtained is a vector. If the physical quantity obtained is a vector, then a question comes in your mind that what will be its magnitude and direction? If it is a vector, it should have magnitude and direction. So the magnitude of the vector is of the new vector. The magnitude of the new vector is equal to the magnitude of the new vector. The magnitude of the new vector. The magnitude of the new vector is equal to the product of the scalar quantity is equal to the product of the scalar quantity is equal to the product of the scalar quantity is equal to the product of the scalar quantity with the scalar quantity is the product of the scalar quantity and the magnitude of the vector is equal to the product of the scalar quantity and magnitude of the vector. Is that clear? Is a vector clear? Then the physical quantity obtained is a vector. The magnitude of the new vector is equal to the product of the scalar quantity and the magnitude of the vector x by a, in the previous case by a real number, right? Of the and magnitude of the vector quantity. Magnitude of the vector quantity. The direction of the new vector. Next, it is the magnitude part. The direction of the new vector. The direction of the new vector or the physical quantity, new vector or the physical quantity represented by that vector, the direction of the new vector is along the given vector, and it has most of the applications in our calculations, in our vector calculations and in our different topics. Means if I multiply a scalar with a vector, I will get a new vector whose magnitude is equal to the product of the scalar quantity and the magnitude of that vector, and its direction is along the given vector. Let me take an example like that. Let's take an example. As you know that force F is equal to the mass into acceleration. That force is equal to mass into acceleration. Here force is a vector quantity, acceleration is a vector quantity. But the mass, the scalar mass is a scalar quantity. Now if you do this one, F is equal to ma, in this expression, this is the case like your multiplication of a vector acceleration, vector like acceleration by a scalar like mass. When you multiply that, you will get a new vector, that is your force vector. That is your force vector whose magnitude, if it is a vector, it should have magnitude and a direction. So the magnitude of this vector is equal to the product of the magnitude of the vector A and the scalar quantity, and its direction is along the vector, that is the given vector, that is your acceleration. Let this is the acceleration vector represented, and if we find what is this force, if m is some quantity, the mass is given 2 kg, 1 kg, 5 kg like that. So if you multiply that, you will get a vector, that is your force, that is a new vector, and in that case this new vector having the magnitude is equal to m into magnitude of A, having the magnitude, so I can write the magnitude of this force is equal to m, only magnitude, and the magnitude of vector A, more means that is the magnitude. You already know that how to write the magnitude. by modulus. So this is the magnitude of this force, and what is its direction? Its direction is same as that of the direction of A. And here what I have done this one, the length of this vector A represent the magnitude. Here the length is increased because m has some finite value 1, 2, 5 like that. If it is half or 0.2 or 0.1 like that, the magnitude will decrease. So it is the multiplication of a vector by a scalar. Clear? But remember one thing here, when we do the multiplication of a vector by a scalar, it changes the unit part. It changes the unit part. Take this example. It changes the unit part. As you know, the unit of acceleration, unit part, acceleration as a unit, how much? What is the unit of acceleration? Meter per second square. This is the acceleration. Now this acceleration is multiplied with mass as unit kg. So what is this one? Kg meter second square. So this is the unit of what? Force. This is the unit of force. Means when we multiply a scalar to a vector, it changes the unit part. But when you multiply a real number with a vector, it does not change the unit part. It changes the magnitude but same direction. It also changes the magnitude and same direction. But the basic difference is that when a scalar quantity is multiplied with a vector, it changes the unit part. Clear? So students, we discuss about the multiplication of a scalar with a vector and the vector with a real number, and we know the idea how this magnitude and direction of the new vector changes. I think it is clear to you. Now we will go for a most important topic, that is the addition, subtraction, multiplication of vectors. But I have not discuss about, I have not told that division, means division of vector is not there anywhere in this way, right? There is no way a division of vectors. You will not come in any part that the division of vectors. Means next we will go for the, we will discuss in the advanced videos, the videos what will be sent to you. There we will discuss about the addition, subtraction and multiplication of vectors. So first we will go for the addition of vectors. Now next is the, when we go for the addition of vectors, before we go to the addition of vectors, as I told that when we find the addition or subtraction of vectors or the multiplication of vectors, it is very important to know the angle between two vectors. That is most important. You should know how to play or how to find the angle between two vectors. As in the last video, in the discussion I told that for parallel vectors the angle is 0, for anti-parallel vectors the angle between the two vectors is 180. How that? I told that I will discuss in the later. So now I will discuss about the, before I go to the addition, now I will discuss about the how to find the angle between two vectors. If you know how to play to find the angle between the two vectors, then it is very easy to know about the, or to find the addition of two vectors, subtraction of two vectors, multiplication of vectors. Okay. Now we will go for the angle, how to find the angle between two vectors. How to find the angle between the two vectors. And to know the angle between two vectors, you remember one thing, join rule number 1. First, before I go to this one, join, to find the angle between two vectors, join tail to tail. Join the tail to tail by parallel shifting, by parallel shifting. By parallel shifting. What it means? This rule you always follow to find the angle between the two vectors. Here, join the tail to tail by parallel shifting of what? vectors? By parallel shifting of vectors. To find the angle between two vectors. Let us take an example like that. Suppose A is a vector and B is another vector. I want to find what is the angle between the two vectors A and B. What I will do? That is called as I will use the parallel shifting. And first you always know that, before we do that, first you know that if we shift a vector parallel to itself, it does not changes. Means the magnitude and direction does not changes, because as you know parallel vectors definition, all these things already you know that if you shift a vector parallel to itself, it does not changes. It means what? If this is a vector, let A is a vector, if I shift the vector parallel like this, say, or if I shift the vector parallel like this, I can show like this is also parallel. So there is no change in the vector remains same. This is the concept. So while calculating, we will use this parallel shifting. Now here to find the angle between these two vectors, what I will do here? First I will do that. Let me show this vector A as it is. A. Now shift the vector B parallel to it, so that tail to tail joining is possible. So that the tail to tail joining is possible. What I will do? I will take this vector B like this. This is the vector B. Clear? Now if I shift parallel like this, parallel means this is the vector. If I shift like this is parallel. So that what happens here? This tail and this tail will join. Clear? So means I will make this vector B parallel like this. This is the vector B, and this gives you the angle between the two vectors. Where the tail to tail joining is there, that gives you the angle between the vector A and B. So I can write here theta is the angle between vector A and vector B. Is that clear? By parallel shifting we got this, that is the tail to tail joining, we get the angle between the two vectors. Clear? Now let me do some more examples. Let us do some more examples. Now let us give a vector is given. Let us go for the examples how to find. Then we will go for more about this angle between the two vectors. Now there is a vector A is given like this. Another vector B is given like this. Now I will ask you, what is the angle between this A and B? What is the angle between A and B? Is this tail to tail joining? No, this is not tail to tail. This is the head, this is the tail, this is the head, this is the tail of vector B. To make that tail to tail joining, what we can do? We can do that. Number one, I can shift the vector A parallel to itself, means the vector A is like this along this direction. I can shift the vector like this. So this vector I can take to this side, so that I will get the vector like this A. I can get the vector A. This is the parallel shifting. Or the other way is that I can make the vector B parallel shifting like this, like this, like this. This is the vector B. I can take like this, so that is the tail to tail joining. Means I can join the tail of A with the tail of B, or the tail of B with the tail of A. So in this parallel shifting again I can do that. B can be shifted like this, right? So B can be shifted like this. So there is a joining. This is B. By parallel shifting there is no change in vector B. What the vector B is here. Clear? So if a vector is given here, I shift this vector parallel to this place, then there is no change in the vector magnitude and direction. Clear? According to that, if you do this, then the angle between these two vectors may be this one, theta, or maybe this one, because this is the parallel shifting. So what the angle? Theta or theta. So you can say this is the angle between the vector A and B. If A and B are given like this, then this is the angle between A and B. Now, let us keep this one. Suppose this angle is given you 120 degree. Then, what is this theta? If this is the parallel shifting, then this angle should be 60 degree. So, vector A and B is given, the angle is shown you 120, but if I will ask what is the angle between A and B, you will tell that 60, because this total angle is 180, this is 120, 180 minus 120, that equal to 60. Or if this is 120, then if I shift like this, so this like this, so this is 120, this is 120, because this is the parallel shifting. What is this angle? This is the same angle. So this will be how much? This will be 60. You are getting the same result. By shifting A or by shifting B, you are getting the same result. Clear? Now if the another case is given, suppose you have given another case like this. Let's take another example like, suppose A and B are the vectors are given like this. Vector A and this is the vector B. Now I will ask you, and suppose this angle is 110 degree. Vector B, and this is the vector B, this is the vector A. What is the angle between A and B? Are they the same? Like your rule number 1, tail to tail joining is there? No. So I can shift the vector parallel to anyone. So A can be shifted parallel like here. So A can be shifted parallel here. So you can draw this A by parallel shifting. This is A. Case 1, number 1. Case 2, I can shift the vector B parallel to itself. Means the vector B can be shown like this. This is B. So this tail to tail joining here or tail to tail joining here. So this is the angle between the vectors. What is this angle? If it is 110, this is 180 total. So this 110 means this will be how much? This is your 180 minus 110, that is equal to 70 degree. If you shift like this, this also the 70 degree. So this is the angle between the two vectors. Okay. So while finding the angle between these vectors, you will follow this rule. Clear? Now the next case we will go for an equilateral triangle. You have given an equilateral triangle like this. Clear? A is a vector, B another vector, represent the sides of an equilateral triangle like this. C is a vector. It is shown like this. Equilateral triangle means you know that the angles are 60. Each angle is 60. But if I ask what is the angle between A and B, B and C, C and A, is there 60? No. If you say 60, it is wrong. What that angle will be? Now you join tail to tail. So to join tail to tail, I can shift A with B. So A can be shown like this. This is A, shifting parallel to itself. So A and B. This is the tail to tail joining. So this angle will be 120. So angle between A and B is 120. Similarly, I can shift B parallel to itself. So B can be shifted like this. This is B and C tail to tail joining. This is 120. Then C to A, you can shift this C like this parallel to itself. This is C, this is A tail to tail joining. This is 120. So what is the angle between them? If three vectors are represented like this by the three sides of an equilateral triangle, the angle between them is 120, 120, 120. This is the most important thing. Okay. So from all these discussions, we know that it is always there that it is the angle between these vectors always lies between 0 to 180 degree. In any case, if you find the angle between the two vectors always lies between 0 to 180 degree. So far in the discussion. Now you take an example like that and you think about this, how to find this angle between the vectors. Okay. Now let us consider this is a vector A and this is a vector B. This is the vector B. and let this angle is your 30 degree. The vector A and B are shown like this. A is the vector, B is the vector. Then what is the angle between A and B? Here you find. Here the angle is given less than 90, that is you can say that acute angle. Here what is the angle you will get? The same example you can show. B can be shifted parallel, so B can be shifted parallel like that. So this is the vector B. So this is the vector A, and by parallel shifting B is the vector. So now here you see, if you shift parallel to B, are you getting the same tail to tail joining? No, you are not getting the tail to tail joining. Means you can make that one thing. If you shift A parallel to itself, now A is parallel shifted like this, so this can be A, vector A. Now this is the parallel shifting, so this is vector B and this is vector A. So if this is the vector B and this is the vector A, so this cannot be allowed, this is allowed because tail to tail joining is there. If this angle is 30, then what about this angle? What about this angle? This is also 30. This is also what? Because these are parallel. Vector A, vector A. So this angle is 30. In that way, we can play with how to find the angle between two vectors. Now students, we will go for the addition of the two vectors or more vectors. In that case, we will go for the triangle law of vector addition, parallelogram law of vector addition and polygon law of vector addition in different videos. Now first I will go for if there are three laws are there to find the angle between the vectors. One is, first I will discuss about triangle of vector addition. Clear? Okay, students, now we will go for the addition of two vectors. So addition of two vectors, here we will use two laws. One is triangle law, parallelogram law. If more than two vectors, we can use the polygon law. There are three laws in our syllabus. We will discuss these three. So first I will go for the triangle law of vector addition. First I will go for the triangle law of vector addition. Here, so to find this, to know this triangle law of vector addition, we can use the, when we write this triangle law of vector addition, then we will go for the different cases. Triangle law of vector addition. Triangle law of vector addition. So what the addition means? When we add the two vectors, we are getting a new vector. We are finding a new vector. Which is called as the resultant vector. And what is this resultant vector? When the two vectors acts on that body, gives you a effect because of these two combination of the two vectors on that body. And when the resultant is that by addition of the two vectors, if you apply the resultant, you will get the same result. What effects in the body? It means if I apply 2 Newton force on this body and again I will apply 3 Newton force on this body. So the 2 and 3 Newton forces are acting on this body in the same direction, suppose. So if I apply 2 Newton like this, the body moves. Then I apply 3 Newton, then the body moves in this direction. Then I say that if I use 5 Newton, what will happen? 5 Newton, if I say the resultant of 2 Newton and 3 Newton, if I say, we will discuss that, if I say 5 Newton is the resultant of these 2 Newton and 3 Newton, then if I use the 5 Newton, the body will move with the same. What happens when 2 Newton and 3 Newton acts simultaneously? When 2 Newton, 3 Newton acts simultaneously. Means both the effects of 2 Newton and 3 Newton is given by the 5 Newton force. So means here we will find a term called as the resultant. What we are finding here in addition of two vectors, here we will find the resultant of the vector due to the addition of the vectors. Due to the addition of the vectors, we are getting a resultant. What is this resultant called? So you can note this also. The resultant of two or more vectors is a single vector which produces the same effect as the given vectors. As the given vectors or individual vectors together do that. Means individually means not individually. Means if you apply once 2 Newton, then after 3 minutes you apply 3 Newton. Then you will not get the resultant. If 2 Newton, 3 Newton act simultaneously, then what the resultant you will get? Then that resultant means what is the effect of these two combination forces? That is the 5 Newton. Means in place of applying 2 Newton, 3 Newton simultaneously on the body, we can apply 5 Newton and we will get the same resultant if 5 Newton is the resultant of 2 Newton and 3 Newton. So that my point is here. While we find the addition of two vectors, the first law is the triangle law of vector addition. Here I will find if two vectors acting on a body and the resultant of the two vectors, how we calculate the resultant of the two vectors, and what is the, if the resultant is a vector, then what is its magnitude and direction, that we will calculate first. Then we will go to the next law, right? So now here how to find this one? Let me first write the statement. What the statement says. So the statement of this law, the statement of this law is if two vectors are represented both in magnitude in direction, both in magnitude and direction. So obviously if it is a vector, it should be by magnitude and direction. Obviously there is a magnitude and direction. If two vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle, taken in the same order. What it means same order? Remember, same order means the head of one vector and the tail of the other vector, they are coincide. Then that is, we can say that they are in the same order. So here also both in magnitude and direction, the two vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle taken in the same order. Then the combined effect of these two, that is called as the resultant. Then the resultant which is a vector, the summation of the two vectors is again a vector. So the resultant vector, we can write the resultant is represented in magnitude and direction. Again this is a magnitude and a direction. The resultant is represented in magnitude and direction by the third side of that triangle, third side of the triangle taken in the opposite order. Are you clear about this statement? If two vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle taken in the same order, then the resultant is represented in magnitude and direction, means it is a vector, by the third side of that triangle taken in the opposite order. Clear? Taken in the opposite order. Now how to show this one? Let us consider a vector is like this. Let A is a vector and B is another vector like this. Here it is called as same order, means the head of one vector A coincide with the tail of vector B. They are in the same order and are represented by the two sides of a triangle. If I complete the triangle like that, if the triangle is completed like this can be the complete triangle. There are three sides. If the triangle is represented like this, then the resultant of these two, resultant means what? The combined effect of these two vectors, that is the resultant, that is generally shown as a R vector. The resultant of these two vectors is represented in magnitude and direction by the third side of the triangle taken in the opposite order. What it means opposite? If I show like this, if the R is represented with an arrow here at this part, now if R is like this, so what you can say? Now it is the head of B and tail of R. Head and tail coincide. They are same order. So opposite means we should take the R like this. So this is called opposite order. Means the order breaks. Head and tail of B. Head of A, tail of B. Here head of B and head of R. There is a coincide of head and head. That is called as a opposite order. So this represents the resultant, and what this resultant? R is equal to the addition of vectors, so you can say A vector plus B vectors. Why you are doing that like so? Because in the beginning, in the discussion, when we discuss about the vectors, there we told that scalars are added algebraically, but vectors are added geometrically. They are not added algebraically, they are added geometrically, and their addition is different. That's why we are using these laws. Is that clear? So this is the geometrical addition. Means A and B vectors are acting like this, then the resultant will be shown like this. Means if A and B are like this, this is the resultant. Instead of taking A and B, if you take this R, this gives you the same effect, then A and B acts simultaneously. Okay, clear? Now the point is here, we will find the magnitude and direction of this R. How to find the magnitude and direction of the R? That is I will find the analytical method to determine the magnitude and direction of R. Okay? So now we will go for the magnitude and direction of this R. Okay, now if I go for the magnitude and direction of this R. How to find the magnitude and direction of this R? Let us consider two vectors. Let us consider two vectors like this. One vector is OA is represented a vector P. Another vector AB is represented by Q. Is represented by the vector Q. There are two vectors P and Q are represented by the two sides of a triangle taken in the same order. Then according to the law, the resultant is represented by the third side of the triangle. This is the third side of the triangle taken in the opposite order. This is the opposite order, and this is the resultant R. Here we will find if this is the vector P and Q, what is the magnitude and direction of this R. If we know the P and Q vectors magnitude and direction. If you know the P and Q magnitude and direction, we can find the magnitude and direction of R by using the triangle law of vector addition. What we will do here? Now first we do with the angle between the two vectors. Now what is the angle between these two vectors P and Q? In this figure, the angle to find means it is head and this is the tail of Q. The head of P and tail of Q, they are coincide here. If this is the angle, let me draw it like this. Make it large. If this is the angle, so B with a vector. If this is the angle P and Q, this angle, no, this is not the angle because this is not tail to tail coincide. So now shift the P parallel. like this. This is the shifting of P parallel. So this is the P. So if you shift this P parallel, then this will give you the angle theta. So here we can say that theta is the angle between the two vectors P and Q. Theta is the angle between the two vectors P and Q. Clear? Now, to find this R, let us draw something extra to find this magnitude of R and direction of R. Let us draw a perpendicular from B on OA extended. OA extended. So let this is your N. Perpendicular means this angle is 90. This angle is 90. Clear? So this is the figure, and I am not explaining, I am not writing all these things. Again I am repeating what I told that. Let P and Q are the two vectors are represented the two sides OA and AB of a triangle OAB taken in the same order. Theta is the angle between the two vectors P and Q. Then according to triangle law of vector addition, the resultant is represented by the side OB taken in the opposite order, which is equal to the vector R, that is the resultant vector. Clear? And draw a perpendicular from B on OA extended that meet at N. Clear? Now, in this one, to know that what is the, in the right angle triangle, now we go for the, in the right angle triangle, OBN. In the right angle triangle OBN. Clear? So in OBN, if this angle is theta, clear? So what about this? In the right, if this angle is theta, what about this angle? How to find this angle? So now you see here. So this is theta, this angle we will calculate later stage. So let this is the R, let this angle is we taken beta. R makes an angle beta with P. R makes an angle beta with P. We will calculate this beta in the later one. So in the right angle triangle OBN, in the right angle triangle OBN, as we know that OB square, the hypotenuse square OB square is equal to ON square plus NB square. NB square. And in this case OB square, that is your R square. So this is your R square is equal to ON. You don't know about ON, we don't know about NB. So we first will find this ON and NB. So to find this ON and NB, again I will write in the right angle triangle. In the right angle triangle ABN, in the right angle triangle ABN, what is the sine theta? Tell me what is the sine theta? ABN, in the small triangle, sine theta is equal to BN or NB divided by, what is that? NB divided by AB. This implies NB is equal to AB sine theta. And dear students, here I am calculating first the magnitude part, then I will go for direction part. So while calculating the magnitude part, I will consider the magnitude. So AB is a vector which is equal to vector Q, but its magnitude means this is equal to Q sine theta. So this is your NB. I got this NB. Let this is equation number 1. This is equation number 2. Clear? Next, in the right angle triangle, this is ABN. Now I will go for the right angle triangle ABN. In the right angle triangle ABN, same right angle triangle ABN, what is cos theta? Cos theta is equal to AN by AB. AN by cos theta is equal to what? AN by OB, AB. So this implies AM is equal to AB cos theta. What is this AB cos theta? AB means Q. So AM is equal to Q cos theta. This is equation number 3. Now go to equation number 1. Let me erase this one. From equation 1, let me write again. OB square is equal to ON. ON can be written as OA plus AN whole square plus NB square. Now we put here, what is this OB? OB is what? Magnitude of R. So I can take this R square, only magnitude part. If your vector R is there, if you take the square, it is R square, magnitude square. So R square is equal to, what is OA? What is OA? OA is what? Magnitude of P. P plus, what is N? Q cos theta whole square plus NB. What is this NB? Q sin theta whole square. Clear? Now you solve this case like, what you will get here? R square is equal to A plus B whole square. P square plus Q square cos square theta plus 2 PQ cos theta 2AB plus Q square sin square theta. Clear? A plus B whole square, A square, B square plus 2AB. So this is equal to R square is equal to, let me write here, R square is equal to P square plus Q square. Take this cos square theta, Q square common from these two. So this is equal to sin square theta plus cos square theta plus 2PQ cos theta. What is sin square theta plus cos square theta? This is 1. So R square is equal to P square plus Q square. This is 1 into Q square 1 plus 2PQ cos theta. Or R is equal to root over P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. This is the what? The magnitude of R or modulus of R. The modulus of R can be written as simply R without vector symbol. So R is equal to the magnitude of the resultant. R is equal to square root of P square, magnitude of P the square, magnitude of Q square plus 2 magnitude of P and magnitude of Q into cosine of the angle between the two vectors. So that is the vector addition. It depends on the angle between the two vectors, in what direction they x. Right? This is the first part. Then we will go for the second part. Second part means direction of R. Now here already you have taken R makes an angle beta with B, with P. R makes an angle beta with P. Right? So beta. Then if I know this beta, then I can say what in what direction this R will be. In what direction this R will be. Is this direction or this direction or this direction or this direction. I can know that. So let me erase this part. Clear. Now let beta is the angle made by R resultant with what? With P. In the right angle triangle, again OBN. What is that? Tan beta. I want to know about beta, what beta angle, then I can show what is the direction. Tan beta is equal to BN or NB divided by ON. NB divided by ON. Already you know that in your trigonometry. NB by ON. So this can be written as NB. What is this ON? Already you know that OA plus AN. OA plus AN. Is that clear? Now we put here tan beta is equal to, what is NB? NB. Already you know that NB is what? Q sin theta. So this is Q sin theta divided by OA, magnitude of P, plus AN, Q cos theta. Or we can write this as a beta. When the equation is like this, then we want to find beta. Beta is equal to tan inverse Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. This gives me the direction of the resultant. This gives me the direction of the resultant. Okay. So we got the magnitude of our S P square plus Q square plus 2 PQ cos theta, and when you calculate the direction of our with P, I have taken here the R makes an angle beta with P. If it makes an angle beta with P, then I am getting tan inverse other vector Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. Remember this sequence. Okay, remember this sequence. Clear? Now I will go for the parallelogram law of vector addition. Right? So remember, when you use this parallelogram law of vector addition, where we will use this law of vector addition, this is also used to find the resultant of two vectors acting on a body. But here the condition is that when the two vectors act on the same point, but in the triangle law, the two vectors are not acting on the same point, because this A vector, we can start, this is the starting point O, but for this O vector or P vector starting point O, whereas the Q vector which is AB, the starting point is A. Both are not at the same point. But parallelogram law is used to find the resultant of two vectors act at the same point at a certain angle with each other. Okay. Now come to the parallelogram law of vector addition. So now we know that where it is used. Let me write the statement. Same case is that if two vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction, by the adjacent sides, means nearby, by the adjacent sides of a parallelogram, because it is a parallelogram law of a parallelogram, adjacent sides of a parallelogram drawn from a point, means both starts from a common point. Parallelogram drawn from a point, then the resultant vector, obviously this is the addition of two vectors, the resultant is a vector, is represented in both magnitude and direction, by the diagonal of the parallelogram, of the parallelogram, diagonal of the parallelogram passing through the same point, passing through the same point, passing through the same point. Is that clear? Now you memorize this statement. If two vectors are represented in magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of a parallelogram starting from a common point, so these are the two vectors. So let me draw a parallelogram first. So this is the parallelogram, right? The opposite sides are parallel. So this is parallel to this one, this is parallel to this one. So this is called a parallelogram. And let us consider the two vectors are represented like this, the two adjacent sides of the parallelogram P and Q, starting from a common point O, drawn from a point. Then the resultant vector is represented in both magnitude and direction by the diagonal of the parallelogram. So now you draw the diagonal. What the diagonal? You can draw the diagonal like this, or one can draw the diagonal like this. But which diagonal we will consider? We will consider this diagonal. The diagonal of the parallelogram passing through the same point from this point. So this is the diagonal, this is my R. And what is this R? R is equal to P plus Q, sum of the vectors. Here again we will find what is the magnitude and direction of this R. Okay, so now to calculate this R magnitude and direction, let me erase this one and I will draw this figure here, then I will derive the expression. So now we will go for the diagram again. Analytically, we will find the magnitude and the direction of R. Now I will go for the magnitude and direction of R. That is the resultant. Right? So do the same procedure like that. Let us consider the vectors. Let vector OA represented by the vector P and another vector O B represented by Q. Sorry. So not like this. So first we will say the parallelogram Q OB. So OA and OB are represented by the vectors P and Q. Now let me first complete the parallelogram. What the figure I have shown you, let me complete this parallelogram like this. Isn't it? OB parallel to this and give naming like this, OAB, and let this is C. So this is a OABC is a parallelogram. Clear? OABC is a, or let me make a sequence like that, B and let this is your C. So OA and OC are the two vectors P and Q represented by the two adjacent sides of the parallelogram. And now what is the angle between these two vectors? Here it is very easy because the tail and tail coincide, so let's theta is the angle between the two vectors. If this is a parallelogram, if Q vector is this one, if you shift parallel to here, this is here P, so this is also represented as a Q. If this is Q, then in this part, what is the angle between P and Q? What is the angle between P and Q? P is parallel shifted, so this is the vector P. You can say this is the vector P, like this side. So this is the angle. So now this side is parallel, so this is the line, so this is also Q. So this is the vector P and Q. This is the angle theta, or this is the angle theta. Clear? So let us consider the two vectors P and Q are represented by the two sides OA and OC starting from a common point, represent two sides of a parallelogram OABC. Clear? OABC. Right? Now, next part is, if this is the case, theta, then the resultant is represented by the diagonal of the parallelogram. The resultant is represented by the diagonal of the parallelogram. Which diagonal? The diagonal which starts from the same point, from the common point. So this diagonal represents here R. And what is this R? R is equal to P vector plus Q vector. My point is here to find this R. Okay. what is the magnitude of this R in terms of P and Q. Same similarly, let this R makes an angle beta with P. I will find this beta means what is that? This beta means I can know what is the direction of R with respect to P, and also I will find the magnitude of this R. Already we have done this one in triangle law, like this figure is there. This is almost a triangle. OAB looks like a triangle. Use the same concept, same derivation, you can find. So what we will do here, let us draw a perpendicular from B on OA produce that meet at the point N. That meet at the point N. Clear? So this is the perpendicular. Is that clear? Now we will go for the derivation part. So now to find this magnitude of R. Clear? So already the description of how the figure is there, I have already discussed. You can write what I told, you can write that in your notebook. Now, for this part, in the right angle triangle, OBN, take the same thing, OBN, OB square is equal to ON square plus NB square. That is ON square plus NB square. NB square. Clear? Now, OB square equal to ON can be written as OA plus AN whole square plus NB square. Now again you see here. Already you know this OB. What is this OB? This is your R. What is this OA? OA is P. What is AN? You don't know about AN. What is NB? You don't know about this NB. Now we find this NB and AN. Do the same procedure. So this is equation number. Now let us put this equation number 1. In the right angle triangle, which one? ABN. What is sine theta? Sine theta. ABN. Sine theta is equal to NB by AN. Sorry, AB. NB by AB. So this implies NB is equal to AB sine theta, or NB is equal to, what is this AB? AB is nothing but Q, magnitude of Q. Sin theta. We will consider the magnitude part. So this is equation number 2. Clear? Similarly in the triangle, what is cos theta? Cos theta is equal to AN by AB. This implies AN is equal to AB cos theta. The same derivation. AN is equal to AB cos theta. So what is this AB? AB is nothing but here Q cos theta. That is your AN, isn't it? This is AN is equal to Q cos theta. So this is like equation number 3. Now you see here, I got the AN, what is this AN and what is this NB. Now I put this NB and AN in equation number 1. Clear? Putting 2 and 3 in equation 1. Putting equations 2 and 3 in equation 1. What is OB? Now put OB is what? R. This is R square. Is equal to OA. What is my OA? OA is what? OA is P. So P plus, what is N? N is Q cos theta. So Q cos theta whole square. OA plus N square plus NB. What is this NB? NB is equal to Q sin theta. So Q sin theta whole square. Clear? So now if you solve this one, let me erase this part. Putting, so this up to this is clear. Now let me erase this portion. So R square is equal to, now do the same thing, P square, A plus B whole square, Q square cos square theta plus 2PQ cos theta plus Q square sin square theta. This is equal to p square plus, take this q square common from these two terms. So this is equal to cos square theta plus sin square theta plus 2pq cos theta. What is cos square theta plus sin square theta? That is your 1. So put this 1, this is equal to p square plus q square into 1, q square plus 2pq cos theta. This is equal to your r square. Isn't it? So r is equal to square root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. Now if you recall the triangle of vector addition, then we got the same result. The magnitude part r, the magnitude part of the resultant r vector is square root of p square q square 2pq cos theta, sum of these three terms. Means this resultant actually depends on this theta. It is not simply addition like your scalar addition or algebraic addition. That is the vector addition, that is the geometrical addition. Clear? Now we will go for the next part is what? About the direction. So this gives you magnitude. Direction means if you know the beta, then you can know the direction. So now we will go for the beta part. Clear? Is that clear about this magnitude? Then we will go for beta. Do the same thing in the right angle triangle. In the right angle triangle OBN, tan beta is what? BN by ON, which can be BN or NB, you can say that NB, because magnitude is nothing, BN or NB not so change, so you can put NB or BN divided by ON, OA plus AN, right? Now we will do this one. Tan beta is equal to, put this, already you know that NB. What is this NB? NB is what? Q sin theta. So Q sin theta divided by OA is P plus AN is equal to what? Q cos theta. Q cos theta. So if you solve this one again, if you solve again this one, what you will get here? Tan beta is equal to this much, or beta is equal to, you can write tan inverse. If tan is that side, then inverse. This is a trigonometry. Q sin theta divided by P plus Q cos theta. Again you recall the direction part in triangle law. We got the same result. That is the tan inverse Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. And remember, I told that you should remember the sequence. Here beta is the angle made by R with whom? P. If you take with P, then the tan inverse Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. It is not like that. So you cannot change this one. So this is the result we got, Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. Clear? So now from these two laws, the two laws are used to find the resultant of two vectors, and from that we got the same result that if two vectors P and Q acting on a body are represented by the two sides triangle or a parallelogram, their resultant is given by the magnitude in direction. The magnitude is R is equal to root over P square plus Q square plus 2pq cos theta, and the direction is tan inverse Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. Now here we will go for the different cases from this two results, or from the results what we got the magnitude and the direction part. So now we will go for the case 1. Some special cases, we will go for the some of these special cases. So case 1. Now you see here, then angle between P and Q is 0 degree. When angle between P and Q is 0 degree, what it means? The two vectors are parallel. For parallel vectors, their angle is 0 degree. Means both are acting in the same direction. Means the P vector and the Q vector are acting in the same direction. So here theta is equal to 0. So by parallel shifting this Q tail to tail, if you meet that, the angle is 0 degree. So they are 0. So when this angle between P and Q is 0 degree, what you will get? Put the same results is that R is equal to magnitude part. Then magnitude of the resultant R is equal to root over P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos 0. Angle between them is cos theta 0. What is cos 0? That is 1. So R is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ root over, or R is equal to, what is this one? A plus B whole square root over, or R is equal to P plus Q. So when the two vectors are parallel, so this is 0 degree means parallel. If the two vectors are parallel, then the resultant is equal to sum of the magnitude of the two vectors. The magnitude of the resultant is equal to, when two vectors are parallel vectors acting on a body, their resultant is equal to the sum of the magnitude of the two vectors, which represent the magnitude of their resultant. Then go for the direction. Direction means in what direction the resultant will act. That will give you the resultant, means it will give the combined effect of the two vectors. So do the same procedure that your tan beta, let me take this tan beta form also. Tan beta is equal to, if beta is the angle between, angle match with P. So Q sin 0 divided by P plus Q cos 0. P plus Q cos 0. So what is this? Tan beta is equal to Q sin 0, sin 0, 0. So this is 0 by P plus Q. Cos 0 is what? 1. Cos 0 degree is equal to 1, sin 0 equal to 0. So 0 by something is equal to 0. So if this is 0, then what about beta? Beta is equal to tan inverse 0. What is tan inverse 0? That is equal to, we can write, see how is the procedure. Tan 0, 0 degree, 0 value, tan inverse 0. 0 value comes in a what angle for tan? Tan 0. So tan inverse into tan, 1. 1 into 0, 0. So beta is equal to 0. So we got this, beta is equal to 0. So what is the direction of the resultant? The direction of the resultant is along the vectors, It means we can show that, let this is the vector P and let the vector Q, tail to tail. What is the angle between these two? 0. What is the resultant? The resultant is equal to sum of P plus Q, means the resultant will be like this. Add the magnitude of this one, so this is R, which is equal to, the magnitude of this R is equal to P plus Q. What is this R? Magnitude of this R is equal to P plus Q. The magnitude is this much, P plus Q, magnitude of P plus magnitude of Q, so this much. And what is this angle? Beta is equal to 0 means R makes an angle 0 degree with P. R makes an angle 0 degree with P means R is acting along the same line. So the simple example is like that. If this is the body, if I apply a force 3 Newton in this direction, someone will come 2 Newton in this direction, both are in the same direction, so the body will move in this same direction. What the direction you are pulling? With what force? 5 Newton, 3 plus 2, because vector force is a vector quantity. So it will move along the same direction. What direction we are pulling? That is the direction of 3 Newton and 2 Newton, and the body will go into what? 3 plus 2, 5 Newton, and in what direction? Along the same direction. Now we will go for the case 2. I will make the same here. When angle between P and Q is 180 degree, then the angle between P and Q is 180 degree. 180 means that is called as a anti-parallel. They are called as a anti-parallel. Antiparallel means what? If P is this one, then what about Q? This is Q. This is Q. They are antiparallel. Or I can show this is the Q. Antiparallel. Both are acting in a opposite direction. So what we will do here? The simple derivation is there. In case 2, I will make this 0 replaced by 180. If cos 180, what is the value of cos 180? That is minus 1. So minus 1 means p square plus q square minus 2pq. If minus 2pq, then what you will get here? A square plus b square minus 2ab. I am just making the corrections. What is required in case 2? P minus q whole square root over. So what you will get here? P minus q. R is equal to P minus q. But remember, when you do this one, it is 180. This is 180. So what is this one? This is equal to q sine 180 divided by p plus q cos 180. So when you do this one, this tan beta is equal to q sine 180. That is this is equal to your 0 divided by p plus q. So this will give you what? This is equal to 0. Here I can write this as beta is equal to tan inverse, right? So this p plus cos 180 minus q, right? P minus q. So this is equal to 0. So beta is equal to tan inverse 0. Clear? Beta is equal to tan inverse 0. So this will give you tan inverse tan of 0. So tan of 0 means this is equal to beta is equal to 0 degree. This is the value 0, this is equal to 0 degree. Is that clear? So from here what you get? So this is equal to, it is cos 180 minus 1, so this is p minus q. So the result is 0 here, but here there is a factor is the beta is 0 degree means it is along the direction of what? P, because beta is the angle made by the resultant with P. So if P and Q are like this, then when you calculate the resultant, then remember this thing, the resultant P and Q, by parallel shifting I will take this one, so this vector is P is here and this is your Q. This is vector Q. The resultant is P minus Q. Condition is that this is the resultant R, which is equal to P minus Q, which is larger. Here this magnitude, this is larger, so P is larger than Q. So we can say magnitude of P or mode of P is greater than mode of Q. So it is the resultant will be along the direction of P. Suppose Q is larger P, then you can say here a square plus b square minus 2ab. Someone can take this as let me take this as q minus p whole square also. It is also true. Then this will be q minus p. Then in that case, what you will take the resultant? Here you will consider that q vector, the magnitude of q vector is greater than the magnitude of p vector. The magnitude of q vector is greater than the magnitude of p vector. Means if this is the body, 3 Newton acting along this direction, clear? 2 Newton acting along this direction. So this P and Q, P is greater than Q, the resultant, magnitude of the resultant is 3 minus 2, that is 1 Newton, along what direction? Along the direction of P, along the direction of P, means on the larger side vector. The vector whose magnitude is larger, the resultant will be on that side, because beta is angle with P. Similarly also you can take this as 0 degree, or you can say that this is also 180. You can take this as also 180. Then also you will get tan inverse 10. So this is equal to 180 degree. Why you are getting two cases like here? Because it is negative. So negative part is there. That's why which one we should take. So this is R. For the condition magnitude of P is greater than magnitude of Q. If the magnitude of Q is greater than P, then I can write this as a Q minus P. And the angle will be 180. Right? So accordingly you will get the direction part. Then the last one is the case 3. That is the simple, so many times you will use that is the case. Then the angle between the two vectors is 90 degree. Then the angle between the two vectors is 90. Means the two vectors are perpendicular to each other. The two vectors are, case 3, two vectors are perpendicular. I can write this perpendicular like this, perpendicular. And remember, sometimes I will use the symbol like this, so you can use according with that symbol. If I put the symbol like this is perpendicular. Two vectors are perpendicular to each other. Two vectors are perpendicular to each other means theta is equal to 90. Means this is the vector P and this is the vector Q. They are perpendicular, isn't it? P and Q are perpendicular. Then R is equal to root over P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos 90. What is cos 90? 0. Put that 0. 0 multiply with someone, that is 0. So this R is equal to root over P square plus Q square. The magnitude is, when they are perpendicular, the magnitude is square root of P square plus Q square root over. And what is our directional part? Beta is equal to tan inverse Q sin 90 divided by P plus Q cos 90. Clear? Q sin 90 by P plus Q cos 90. So this I can write, this is equal to tan inverse Q sin 91 divided by P plus Q cos 90. What is Q cos 90? 0. So Q by P. This tan inverse Q by B. According to the values of Q and P, this will give you the direction of the resultant R, which is equal to beta. This beta is equal to this one, tan inverse Q by P, if we complete this by a parallelogram like that. So this is the theta that is equal to 90, and this will the resultant. Okay, so go through these two laws and understand the topic, the addition of vectors. Thank you.